So you're wondering, how do you actually become a real estate agent in the state of New York? Well, in this video, we're gonna go over a complete guide on how to get your New York real estate license. So if you're looking to get out of your current 9-to-5 job and get something more flexible, where you can be your own boss, where you can make your own hours, and ultimately where you can decide how much money you make based on the amount of work you put in, this video is for you. So let's dive right into the details. Okay, so welcome back to the video. What I want to do is I want to go over a quick outline of some of the things that you're going to have to do in order to get licensed, and then we're going to take a deeper dive into each one of these topics. So let's start with what you need to do to get licensed. First, you must be at least 18 years old. You must have a high school degree or an equivalent GED. Then you have to complete 75 hours of state-approved real estate pre-license classes. Then you're gonna get your background check done. Then you're gonna schedule your real estate exam. Next, you're gonna have to pass that exam with a 70% score or higher. Then you're gonna pick your sponsoring broker. Then you have to complete an additional required 22.5 hours of continuing education courses. And then you're going to submit your real estate license application. So before you can start listing $1 million penthouses in Manhattan, you're going to have to sign up for pre-license classes and get those completed. You're looking at about 75 hours. So whether you want to do those in person or you want to do them online at your convenience with a live stream online class, you can do that as well. But I would highly suggest to do this at your own pace and check out the online streaming classes that Real Estate Express currently offers for the state of New York. So check out the affiliate link down below. They do a tremendous job with real estate pre-license education. So feel free to check that out and see if they have any sales currently going on at this time. So you need about 75 hours of real estate pre-license education classes in the state of New York. The good news is you are not at the maximum amount that you see in other states. Some states are over 100 hours of real estate pre-license education, but you're also not at the lowest end. You know, some states are lower than New York and they require less than 75 hours in order to get licensed. You're right about in the middle. Now, you do need to complete a 22.5 hour continuing education course within the first 24 months of being licensed. So definitely make sure that you include that when you're thinking about the education requirements to get and maintain your license. Now, you might be asking, like, what kind of score do I need to get in order to pass my New York real estate exam? Well, at this time of shooting the video, you're looking to get a 70% score or higher. So it's important to really pay attention and try to retain as much information as possible during your real estate pre-license courses. Now you might be wondering, what kind of things will you learn during your real estate pre-license classes? Well, I remember sitting down for my real estate pre-license classes, and a lot of it was entirely new concepts because I didn't have much experience in real estate. I did have a background in finance, but even with that, it was still a lot of new things that I was learning and a lot of new things that I had to retain. So here are some things that you might come across in your pre-license classes and some things that you might learn. Real estate math, land use laws and regulations, fair housing laws, real estate financing, contracts, transfer of title, brokerage relationships, disclosures, property analysis, rules of the New York Real Estate Commission, licensee law, ethics, and agency law. So you might be wondering, what is the best way to retain all that information and pass the exam? So passing the real estate exam is important because it's going to cost you more money if you fail the exam and have to basically pay to retake it. So studying for the exam and really trying to retain as much information as possible is very important. Now, some of the things that I could recommend is basically time blocking a certain amount of time per day to study, read material, and try to retain as much of that information as you possibly can. Another thing you can do is if you have a study buddy, you can go back and forth with flashcards and kind of quiz each other on the information that's going to be on the test. But I found that the textbook route for me just wasn't enough to keep me engaged and retain all the information I needed to in order to pass my exam. So I did some research and I found a tool called Prep Agent. And Prep Agent is an excellent study tool that helps agents go through test-like simulations that are very similar to the real estate exam itself, and it will increase your chances of passing. So that's how I did it. And I have an affiliate link down below for that company. And they actually, as of now, at the time of shooting this video, they have a 100% pass guarantee. So if you do fail the exam after using their tool, they're going to give you your money back. So it's kind of risk-free, and I highly suggest it because it made studying for this exam a lot more fun and a lot more engaging. Next, you're gonna wanna schedule your real estate exam. So you must schedule this at least 1 day in advance, and you're going to be doing this on a computer. It's not an open book test, so you're going to have to retain all this information, and you're going to have to basically sit down with nothing but your basic non-scientific calculator and get through this exam. Now, on test day, I remember being filled with anxiety. So it's important not to forget important things to get into the testing center, because they're just going to turn you around the door and you're going to have to come back a different day. So you might be asking, what are they looking for on test day and what forms of identification can you bring? So you need 2 forms of identification. One needs to be photo identification. The other one needs to have a matching name and signature. So here's some things that count as valid forms of identification: driver's license, a US Social Security card, a passport, a debit card with signature, a credit card with signature, or a green card. Keep in mind, you're also going to want to bring a basic non-scientific calculator for the math portion of the exam. Now you might be wondering, how long do you actually have to complete this exam? So the good news is you have plenty of time. You have about 1.5 hours to complete the exam and get a 70% score or higher. Now, it's important to read the questions multiple times before you actually submit your answer, because sometimes the questions and the answers that they let you select are very similar, and they might only be a couple words separating them. So it's important you reread them and make sure that you submit the most accurate answer, because a lot of people, they'll answer the question wrong and they even knew the actual answer, but they rushed through it because they thought they were going to run out of time. So pass or fail, how long does it actually take for you to get the results? Well, the good news is, as soon as you walk out of the testing center, you're going to be able to get your results. So you're not going to have to wait a long period of time in anticipation, and you're going to find out if you passed or failed pretty quickly. Now you might be wondering, if you actually do fail the exam, can you retake it? Well, the good news is you can retake the exam. It's just going to cost you. So you're going to have to retake the exam and pay the fee over again to do that. So you can retake it, it's not the end of the world, but just try to pass it the first time around, because if you can avoid spending that money, it's best to do so. Once you get through all that and you pass your exam, it's time to get your background check done. So in New York, they require you to get a background check and fingerprints done to make sure that you don't have a criminal record or anything on your record that would make them not want to issue you a real estate license, because you're going to deal with big financial transactions and they want to make sure that you're not going to do anything suspicious or shady. So it's important to get that background check done before you submit your license application. Now you might be wondering, how long is it going to actually take you to get your New York real estate license? So the requirements in New York are about middle of the road. They're not the lowest requirements, but they're also not the highest state requirements. So I suspect you can get this done in 3 to 6 months, depending on how fast you move, how aggressively you study, and how seriously you take this. So you can get this done pretty quickly, and I would suggest going all in, spending your time on nights and weekends studying, and really making this happen if this is a goal of yours. Now you might be wondering, how much is it actually going to cost you to get your New York real estate license? Well, depending on what services you use and what real estate school you decide to go with, it can cost you, about $1,000 or less to get your license in New York. So that's the good news. It doesn't cost a boatload of money to get this business off the ground and get started. Again, I would highly suggest you check out Real Estate Express. They do have sales that go on, and you can check the link below to see if they have any sales going on right now. It's an excellent pre-licensed school in New York. So last but not least, you have to pick your brokerage. As a new licensed agent, you're going to have a sponsoring broker, and you're going to need to go through the step of finding one that fits your needs. Now, I would suggest you check out our video on finding and picking a new brokerage as a new agent. And that video will outline all the things that I'm going to talk about briefly here in much more detail. But long story short, I would highly suggest that you spend time looking for a broker that has training, mentorship, and someone that actually has a good amount of experience working with new agents and helping them get their business off the ground. One mistake I would highly suggest you avoid is just focusing on commission splits. As a new real estate agent, you might be eager to make the best commission split possible, but I just want to remind you, if you never sell a deal, you're never going to be able to take advantage of that high split. So it's more important as a new agent to spend the time and basically find a broker that can get your business off the ground and make you successful as quick as possible. Make sure you ask questions and make sure you find out that they have a mentorship program that actually has a framework in place, because some mentorship programs are just the agent and some experienced agent pairing together and giving you access to somebody if you have a specific question. That's not as good as a brokerage that has a specific plan and a step-by-step booklet and guide on how to get your business off the ground and an exact model and framework that you need to be following in order to become successful. So in conclusion, becoming a real estate in New York has huge advantages. There are huge commissions to be had. And I remember the last time I was in New York, I went through Manhattan, I went through Long Island, and it's just a beautiful place, a beautiful city. And there are some giant commissions to be had in this area. There are multiple $1 million penthouses. There are deals that are ranging in the 10 to 20 to $30 million range. And now let's dream big, but also realize some of the smaller deals are also very lucrative in this market. So competition is probably high here. There's a lot of agents in this market, but if you have a vision of selling beautiful homes in New York, it's best to get started and start working towards your license. So thanks so much for watching this guide. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. I'll do my best to get back to you. And if you like real estate content for real estate entrepreneurs, subscribe and hit the like button. Thanks again for watching and have an awesome day.